Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Ask a Trans Attracted Man, Part 2. Thank you, everyone, for viewing Part 1. Thank you for your comments, both on Facebook and on the YouTube page. I really appreciate it. We are going to get right into the first question of the night. It actually comes from Brother Red, who left a comment, which I think is really a dynamite question in the comments. So thank you, Brother Red. Um, This question: does being an open and honest trans attracted man hurt your chances of being in a relationship with a trans woman? The reason why he asked this question is he feels that uh, most of the time, a large number of trans women view men who only or openly date trans women are tranny chasers or are after trans women as a fetish. Um, wow, that's a very, very good question. Um, Let me start out at the beginning about being open and honest. Being open and honest changed my life. Being open and honest made me the man that I am today. Um, I spent the better part of a decade running and hiding, um, being afraid of being a trans attracted man. Um, it was a mess. My life was a mess. My relationships suffered and suffered dramatically. Um, my home life, of course, did suffer dramatically. My my being a father and my relationship with my sons suffered because I was going through so much turmoil in my head, not dealing with who I was and what I wanted. So coming to terms with all of this and being open and honest really and truly did change my life. And I would never go back to how I was. It was a really dark period in my life. I hurt a lot of people who meant a lot to me. One person in particular, I'll never be able to apologize to her. I'll never be able to let her know how much she truly meant to me and that I was a selfish bastard because that's what I was then. Um, Now, as far as, some trans women feeling that it is, they feel negatively about a man who openly dates or only dates or has dated more than one trans woman. In real life, uh, you know, we, how many people meet one girl, fall in love, and that is the end of the story? That doesn't happen. Unfortunately, because the trans community is small, and because really there's a lot of hate in the girls, um, there's a lot of crap that comes with it. And I do believe that men are held to a double standard. Some women are quick to say, well, you dated one XYZ or whatever, or however, or whoever you dated, or that you even openly date trans women. They'll have an issue with it, but you date men, and how many men have you dated? You know what I mean? So the there's this false equivalency. They feel that men are held to a different standard than they are. It's unfair. It's reality, but it's unfair. But a woman with that mindset, really isn't a woman for me. So I just keep it on. I keep on pushing. Um, Again, I do think being open and honest is a beautiful thing. I think being open and honest um, saved my life. It saved my sanity. So to go back to that, not being that way is horrible. Then the other thing is, I think a lot of trans women feel that they're going to meet this Prince Charming who has never dealt with a trans woman before, and he's going to instantly be okay with his sexuality, and his family's not going to have a problem with it, and it's going to be great, it's going to be wonderful. No, it's a fantasy. It takes a while for a man to even come to terms with this. He has to be able to look at himself and say, wow, he has to embrace himself and love himself enough to know that it doesn't change the fact that he's still a grown man. That's the thing that gets me. Too many people allow others to shape their thoughts. I have a tattoo that I have on this arm. It's an ankh, but it's done in chains. The ankh is a symbol of life, but I have it done in chain links simply because I refuse to live my life chained by the will of others. Um, that's really important to me. That's why I got that tattoo. Um, because too long I allowed others to shape my thoughts. I allowed others to tell me that who I was wrong. Um, that affected my relationships with trans women and women in general, because I was a mess and I was full of shit. That simple. Um, so, as far as those women who have a problem with it, then I'm not the guy for you and you're not the girl for me. So, Brother Red, I'll just keep stepping and, find somebody who appreciates me for the man that I am. I guess in addition to that question, I guess we need to define what's the difference between a tranny chaser and a trans attracted man. Uh, I believe a tranny chaser is no different than a player, as they will call a guy who's chasing non-trans women. Um, he's very selfish. He's driven by his ego, and it's all about him and what he wants. But unfortunately, that player, that tranny chaser, can only do what you ladies allow him to do. You can't blame a guy when he's getting whatever he wants from whoever he wants. It takes two to tango, so there is culpability on both sides. If the ladies wouldn't be so free, to give it up or what have you, these guys wouldn't have that leg to stand on. Um, I guess being a trans attracted man and holding on to that and saying that means, again, being able to look at yourself in the mirror and accepting who you are and it not being an issue. It means that you can date a woman uh, openly and freely, take her anywhere, any time of the day or night. Unlike a tranny chaser who is gonna, it's 2 a.m, ain't nobody around. I'm gonna give her a call and I'm gonna step through because I know she gonna let me come chill. Um, so that trans attractive man is going to date you. He's going to court you. He's going to treat you with the respect that a lady deserves. But if you ladies take anything less, is that on the man or is that on you? That is really, really important because sometimes things only happen when you allow them. If you stop allowing people to step over you, if you stop allowing people to run over you or through you or however you want to say it, then only then will things change. But again, you have to love yourself. So the next question that I am going to answer is, do I consider myself a part of the LGBT community? I can say yes and no. I guess at the beginning, because I started a long time ago, long time ago, long time ago. I never thought about getting married to a trans woman. It never crossed my mind. But once I became open and honest, once I, for the lack of a better phrase, came out, that changed. And I wanted to be, and I was in a long-term relationship. I want to get married. So I guess that fight for marriage equality does include me in some way, shape, or form. But I do believe that for the most part, the GLB of the community doesn't really respect trans women enough. They're an afterthought. A lot of legislation that is out there protects, gay and lesbian people, but it doesn't protect trans people. So I would say that I'm more a part of the T community in the GLBT. I want to help the women I love and the people that I love um, because there's too much negativity. There's too much death. There's too many murders. There's so many things that are happening that are negative that they're not doing anything about. And we need to speak up. We need to make it change. If we don't step up, if we don't do the things that we need to do to help this community grow, to get it out of the corners and the shadows, to get it out of the 2 a.m.s. If we don't do that, nobody else is going to help us. So we need to stand up and do something about it. The last thing that I am going to discuss is, and I got to find the question. Okay. I think this one is going to be short and sweet, and it's going to tie back into my first question. What advice would I give to other men who are trans attracted? Very simple. First of all, be true to yourself. Stop playing games. Look in the mirror and be real with yourself. Once you're able to do that, once you're able to say, hey, this is who I am, and you not worry about anybody, you stop looking over your shoulder and peeping around corners, you'll be a better man. That's what made me a better person. That's what made me me. Being able to say, you know what, I'm all right. And there's nothing wrong with being with the women that I love. Embracing that, understanding that, and understanding myself was the best thing that ever happened to me. I did talk to a couple of therapists and found out that they don't know what the heck they're talking about as far as being a trans attracted man, because I do think that the mental health community, this is something that they don't really touch. So what we have to do as trans attracted men, if you know another brother, reach out to him. That's something that we don't do. Trans women have each other. Gay men have each other. Lesbians have each other. They can run to one another. Besides, I do know a few guys personally, and I do talk to them. But for the most part, especially in the beginning for me, I was by myself. Somebody told me years ago, you're not the Lone Ranger. I never understood what he meant by that. But as time went on, and I realized that what he meant was, even the Lone Ranger had someone. He had his boy. Tonto had his back. Kimosabe was happening. He was there for him. We have to be there for each other. With social media, some of you guys, you can reach out to each other on social media. Ask questions. Like Brother Red, he had a comment. He wanted to know. I'm honored that he watched this video. I'm honored that he thought enough to make a comment and to ask a question. I've had other comments on the interview I did with Miss Diamond Styles. One guy said that we were the spitting image of each other, meaning that he was a lot like me. And it made him understand that it's okay. And at the end of the day, guys, you have to understand that you're okay. You're cool. It's nothing wrong with being you. But you have to believe that. And you have to understand that. Only then will you be able to say to yourself, I'm good. And then you can go out and you can have a relationship and you can approach a lady and not worry about anything negative coming back, because you're bringing only positive things to her. But if you're full of negativity, if you're full of self-doubt, then of course that relationship is not going to work. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to love someone else? And that's very, very important, gentlemen. At the end of the day, I love me. It took a while for me to get here, but I'm happy to be here. Only reason why I'm doing this is just to kind of reach out and to put a face where there's a lot of guys like us out there. There's a ton of them. Most of them won't step up. It's time for us to stop talking about it and being about it. I thank you, and I'll see you guys at part 3.